Okay, hello. This is day 2 of my NeetCode. Um, like trying to get good at NeetCode, but here's another one. Valid anagram. This one was a lot more trickier because I had to think of 2 steps when it comes to it. But let's give it a read because this one I spent the whole day trying to figure out, and when I got the answer, I felt like I was stupid. But go on, let's start. So, given 2 strings s and t, return true if the 2 strings are an anagram of each other, otherwise return false. An anagram is a string that contains the exact same characters as another string, but the order of characters can be different. So this part, the 2 keywords, exact same characters, which I forgot about yesterday when I was doing this, but and the other one is it doesn't matter as well. The characters can be different, but it has to be the exact same characters. That's the key word here. So what I've done first is here's the input. So I realized that these two are the same length. So the first thing before even starting with the characters, the length of each what's it called, characters has to be equal with each other. So that's the first issue we have to deal with. Then we can deal with like the next 2 characters, whatever the thing is asking for. So what I've done first, I said I got the index of each. So if s is not equal to, actually put the length s because we're measuring the amount of characters, not the actual data in there. So the amount in there is 7. That's 7. It has to be, if it's not equal, because these two have to be equal, right? So if that's not equal with the length t, print, what's it called, return false. Yeah, false. Capital F. That's the first one that I had to deal with. The main reason is because these two has to be equal before we even start it. If one is 7 or one is 6, then there's no point doing anagram in the first place. Like, because it has to be the exact same characters, but to be the exact same characters, it has to be exact same length. So that's I haven't thought of it that way. And so because of that, I started off with this. We might as well just do a simple catch the error early, and just if it's not even the same amount of characters, just give a false anyway. So that's the main reason I've done this one. And another one is the second part is like not measuring, but checking if these have the same amount of data with each other. So if there's 2 R's here, there's 2 A's here, there's 2 C's here, so we need to check these. And the only way to do this is probably using a key value pair. So having the key, which is basically the S, and the value, how many R's is in it. So we have like a count, so it counts how many there is in each one. So S would have the key would be S, and it'll say S with dot 2R, 2R. So it'll just say 2, so it'll have the count as 2. So that's another way of doing it. So how I done this was with a hash map, right? So let me just get the hash map out. So I started off with creating 2 variables. So count s, comma, and count t, and that will equal to 2 hash maps. So now first we have to loop through each one to find one. So that's why because we got the data, we use a for loop because we can see the amount of times we're looping through each other depending on the input of here. So we'll loop through each other. So how I'll start with the for, give it a variable in, let's say, s. But because they're the same length, right? We can just say we can give one for loop instead of having two, because they have to be the same length. So I'll put a range which starts from 0 index, and within that put the length of either s or t. You can put any because they're the same length, because we'll be iterating through the same length anyway. But we just swap it when we're doing the method here. So when we're getting the data here, we can just swap. We can just use s again because it's got the same amount of, because this is counting the index, right? It's counting how many times it's in there. It's not counting the actual it's not taking the actual letter, it's counting the actual index of the place. Also, we'll have one R here, then it'll come up to here, it'll go through each one. There's A, there's C, there's another C, let's replace that one. There's another A, let's replace that one to 2 A's. There's another R, let's replace the hash map for 2 R's now, and it just updates it like that. So let's try to do that. So we're gonna get count s and create the actual placeholder. So it will be s within, so this is basically putting it in there. This is the thing that's going to be stored in here. So this is going to be s within, oh sorry, not s, I, no sorry, yeah, s within I, because this is the data we're taking out, because I is basically each one of these indexes. So we're going to iterate through. So that will equal count s, I think it was, then we do dot get. This method gets, basically is this thing that's checking if it's in here. So it's either going to check for this, the s with the I, if it's in there, so it can add on 1, or if it's not there, it's going to say 0, so it's going to replace that with 0 and add 1. Oh yeah, I forgot the plus 1, because we're going to have to add it to 1. So to add that, we're basically going to add 1. So basically, let's say R is here, right? The first thing it's going to do is going to find R, there's the s, is the length of it, it's going to put 1 here, the index 1 is R, so R is going to be stored in the variable. Then R first is going to check, this is going to check R first. So it's going to say R count, so it's R going to be stored here, then it's going to be here, then it's going to check if R is going to be in here. If not, it's going to return 0. If it is, it's going to return the actual R of the value, the count, the value of R, and it's going to add 1. I'm going to make it 2 R's, and it's going to update the value. If it's not, it's going to give your default 0. It's going to add 1, and it's going to put R in there. That's how this works, which is the way I was looking at it when I was doing it. So let's do that for T now. So let's just copy this and update it for T. And I'll show you what I mean by I'm using the same index. So let's swap this with T. Yep, this is T. And this is T. So now this is basically using the same index, right? So because we have the same length, it doesn't matter which one we use, but we've got T, right? So we're using it on T instead, but the index doesn't matter because T is going to say here, is basically here, right? So the index, it doesn't matter if it, because they're the same length, it is counting the index. It's not counting the data in it. It's counting like, it's not counting C, it's counting the actual where C is stored. So C is stored 1, 2, 3. So C is stored in 1. A is stored in 2. That's the index of C is 1. Index of A is 2. So and so on. So that's what it's counting. It's not counting data. So that's why we can still use S as a placeholder for as a count index counter for T. And I just done the same again. Checks T, but it does it the same again with T. What I've told you before. So it's gonna do .get. The first thing it's gonna do is store it here. Then it's gonna check first the if it's in there with count s.get, it's gonna say if C is in there, no, so it's gonna return 0. Then 0 plus 1 is gonna give you how much it is, then it's gonna be stored in there. And that's how it's done. That's how I was able to figure it out. Then after that, you can just say return if it's this count is equal to count s is equal to count t. This will return true or false. You can do either. So you could do either equal or not equal. So let me run this. Okay, what do we have here? Oh, I think this has to return true, right? Oh no, this returns false. Let me look at the output again. Oh yeah, so this, I just realized I forgot to change it. See, this happens when you copy and paste as well. When I copy and paste, make sure you're using T, because it was telling me my output was T. Yeah, that's just a mismatch, because make sure T it's there. This is the reason why I like writing out the whole code instead of copy and paste it, because I copy and paste this one, I forgot to change it. So that's how bugs for me usually get into my code. And see, yeah, is accepted. So count s, I think even if you do not equal, it should still work. Oh no, it's because it's not equal to that. Oh yeah, because we get the output should be true, or else it's going to give us the opposite output, false. Yeah. So the main reason why it's equal, we need the output to be true. So if it does this, it's basically going to find the output, the return true or false, basically. So when it counts everything, it's true. If you do not equal, I just done there, it's going to bring out false, which is going to be the opposite way around of the output, what they want from us of the question. So that's why it didn't work. But yeah, that's how I've done Anagram. This one was a lot more difficult compared to the other one. It's because that I haven't done Anagram before, and it was more like you had to think of the like edge cases like this. I never thought about if the length would be equal. I was just straight away, I went to count and tried to figure it out, but I was getting errors because I haven't thought, like, you have to think in these situations, because before you even start getting the data and making them match exactly the same characters, you have to check if the lengths are equal first, which that didn't come to my mind when I was doing it. So yeah, I think he done it in two like different ways. Like this way I would even thought of, to be honest. Like he checks the length are not equal, then he uses sort method to actually sort them. Sort function to make if it's equal or not, which is probably the fastest one. Where's the one that I've done? Yeah, here it is. So this is the method I've done, and yeah, it seemed to be right. I've watched all this video and tried to understand it. So the reason why it's n plus m is because n is basically, it says it here is a string, and m is the length of the t. So it's basically you got two inputs. That's why you do m plus m. So yeah, so it dependent of the two inputs instead of one. The thing is constant is because it's a hash map, usually are constant, because it knows where the data is straight away. So when you're getting it, it doesn't have to. It just use one, use dot get or to get the data in hash maps. So it knows exactly the location in hash maps when you're pulling it. That's why it's constant. In Big O, he uses other ways as well, but yeah, this is how I've done it. It's really, this one took me the whole day to do, to be honest, because I did not understand this part. Literally, like what is this, the difference, and how because before I do, I like to see how the flow of data is. Even if I looked at a solution, even when I looked at the solution, I didn't understand it as well. So I actually used like ChatGPT, go back and forth with it just so I can understand this part and how traffic flows, like where is the data going. Once you find out, I realized where the actual data, how it moves, makes a lot more sense. That's what I try to pick up on. I try to see how the data moves across the code, and keep following it the way, because when you start following the code, then you understand it even more. For like, in my opinion, like, I understand this a lot more when I started to follow where this dot get is getting this from. What is this? Like, I was like, where did this come from? Or now I know why you use 0, because there's nothing in there. Like, these things are like things that allow me to, understand it much better. But yeah, that's day 2 complete. Hopefully, yeah, I'm gonna do day 3 tomorrow. And yeah, thanks for watching.